All the way from the West Coast, it's humorist Will Roberts and his weekly telegram. The highlights and lowlights of all that's happening in and around the world. All right, Will, what's the scoop?
Will Roberts Weekly Telegram, willsays.com. That's WILLSAYS.com. Or Twitter, it's Will Roberts USA. Hey, folks, this week, I'm kind of on the road. I am in California. Just got back from that long trip I told you, 6 states, and the last one being the state of confusion. Being consistent with the show and changing my format, I'm out talking to real people. I'm actually here in California. It's called Wildomar, California, at a ranch. It's called Oak Meadows Ranch, and it is the brainstorm and the dream of Debbie and Craig Phillips. Great. So it's a horse ranch, but it's a little bit different because, see, I normally talk to people about people, but this week we're going to talk to people about animals. You run a horse rescue, right?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about, first of all, what possesses someone to go out and, I think, how many horses you have here?
74.
74. What possesses anybody to be that caring?
There's a lot of unwanted, starving horses out there right now.
Okay, and you all just basically run out and pick them up and say, hey, we'll help you out, right?
Right. We have a website for our horse rescue, which is bluepearlproject.com.
Okay.
And when people contact us and say, we've found a starving horse, we found an abandoned horse, we have a horse we can't take care of anymore, we've lost our ranch, we've lost our home, please help us.
Right. Now, here's the thing, folks, in my radio listening audience and anybody else that listens to me, I want to make it very clear that these folks don't have like a big non-profit organization that they're, have offices. I am literally in the middle of where, you can see these 75 horses, small pond. We're sitting, that right there, not a radio sound effect, a true chicken rooster or whatever. And the fact is that it's really about the fact that you folks have decided to kind of do this. I know, Debbie, that you kind of came up with this idea. Give me a little bit of background why you started it.
Well,
other than the caring.
The actor Tony Curtis, his wife, started rescuing horses near Las Vegas, and I learned about the horses that were starving, and so I looked more into it, and that got me started. So,
okay, you started and you said, hey, let's do this. Did you have the property? Did you say, look, we've got to spare several 100 acres or whatever you have, and you said, I think we'll just plant some marinas or places and just put them up? Well, how does someone do that?
My husband wanted me to start exercising, going to the gym.
Okay, the real truth comes out.
And Debbie asked me if I knew how to ride horses, and I said yes. So she said, let's go buy horses. We bought 2 horses, and then during her research, she says, they're all starving, and I really want to use a nonprofit to rescue those animals. I said, okay, let's rescue horses. So in the first 2 months, we had 8 horses that were already abandoned and needed rescuing.
Wow. And then now you're at 75.
Right, 74 horses, because when we rescued the 8, we actually ran out of room at the ranch, and all the people involved in wanting to save horses said, Craig, Debbie, please get a bigger ranch so you can rescue the rest of them. So we found 21 acres in Wildomar, and we started building a horse rescue on the 21 acres.
Now, this is not something like, I go to a pet store all the time with my wife and my little daughter, and she loves the animals. And of course, as a young person, a kid, we always want, a turtle or a bird or a dog or something. Not quite the same. Explain to me, Debbie, if you don't mind, the average day of a horse. Do you have to feed it, doctor? What are the things that you have to do that are tremendously a big responsibility?
You feed it in the morning, you water it in the morning, you muck stalls, and then you repeat it again.
Right. And then you come out, and I know you got to shoe a horse, and then sometimes you've got a doc that comes out, right?
Right. We have a volunteer veterinarian, retired, who comes out and comes to the ranch every day. He's here to make sure that we have all the medicines we need to take care of the animals. He actually teaches us how to, give them excellent care.
Right.
And how to recognize symptoms and how to treat them.
Okay.
So with the volunteers that we have coming out to this ranch, it's a blessing to us and the animals that we have so many people who care to help.
Yeah, and you do. I'm out here, quite a lot and throwing my rope around, and it is a beautiful place. Of course, California is beautiful anyway, and I've seen a lot of ranches, and I know you listeners must be thinking, are we always going to see and hear about cowboy stuff? But the fact is that unfortunately you have a cowboy that has a syndicated radio show. But here's a question I have for you, Debbie, and that is, when you take over a ranch like this, I want you to tell me, really, truly, from the bottom of your heart, what is it that you gain from this? Because you know what, at this point, I see that you might be gaining a lot of aches and pains. It must be difficult to keep it up financially and physically, because I know you two are out here day and night. I've heard stories about Craig being here till 2 or 3 in the morning along with you,
Yes.
Collect horse and so on. What's the reason why you do it?
I want to share the horses with the community. I love seeing the little children, the autistic children come here and experience horses.
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing the expression on people's faces and what they get out of being able to be with the horses.
Do you think that that they get the lesson? I mean, do you think that when someone comes out here, I know personally, because I love and have had horses, that there's a certain thing, it's certainly different than having a parakeet or a turtle. It's really almost even better than having a regular person relationship because they're unconditional. Do you think that the people that come out here have the same sort of experience?
I do. They really get a lot out of it.
Okay.
The volunteers that come here are here mostly to bond with the horses. It's unique to watch the horse pick a person and a person pick a horse.
Right.
I never knew what the relationship was until I started rescuing these animals.
Sure.
And they get into your psyche.
Right.
They become a member of your family.
Sure. Well, the thing that I know from my own experience and also with you folks is that it's got to be more than heartbreaking when you go to somewhere, because I remember you telling me the story about you got a call of a person that couldn't run their ranch. And, folks, I want to side note this by saying, a lot of what's happening in our country, in our world, is that we all take things on and we have all great good intentions. And I know the people that probably had the horses originally had good intentions, but again, good intentions with a turtle is a whole lot different than having a horse, because vet fees and stalls and boarding and so on is a whole lot different. But let me ask you, off that, onto another subject. Craig, can you tell me a story that really sticks in your mind that really reinforces why you're doing this, a story that's happened on the ranch?
Well, one of the unique things that happened is we had a horse that colicked out in the pasture. And
and colic is?
Colic is a bad stomach ache from sand in the belly or a blockage of hay.
Okay.
And Debbie and the vet noticed it and went out and started giving care while I was feeding. And then I went out afterwards and started working with the horse. And the horse was up and down from 8:30 till 11:30 at night.
Wow.
At 11:30, I sent Debbie and the doc home, and then the horse went back down and almost died.
Yeah.
I managed to relieve its pain with a special medication, got the horse back on its feet, and got it getting healthy again. I recently took that horse out of pasture and put it in a stall, and in 2 weeks, that horse fattened back up. A 13-year-old girl came here for her birthday and wanted to sponsor that horse.
Wow.
She rode that horse just this week.
For her birthday.
For her birthday.
I remember this story.
So that horse went from near death
And I will tell you, folks, that if you don't know this, you check the prices on some of the medication that horses that need to have, and I can tell you, it makes some of our stuff looks kind of cheap. In any case, okay, and then finally, give me a little bit of information about how we can get a hold of you folks. And just so you all know, they're out in my radio listener land, that there are many of these horse rescue places around the United States and abroad that you can help with. This is one, but I want you to know that, of course, they have a website you can go to. What is that website again?
oakmeadowsranch.com. Or you can go to bluepearlproject.com.
All right, great. Well, I really appreciate both of you, Debbie and Craig. And you know what? We'll check on you in the future and see how the horses are doing. Will Roberts Weekly Telegram, willsays.com. We'll be right back after this break.
Hey, folks. So here's the deal. You can go to oakmeadowsranch.com and help them out. They, of course, need some help with feeding and taking care of the horses. If you happen to be in that area, you can help them out as well. Go to oakmeadowsranch.com.
Wow.